Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. It is Monday, and we got a lot to talk about. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
What is that? I can't.
You see what it is? Yeah, they don't Luke. Luke come to play a gig with me.
I thought your restaurant was only for losers. And that's why LeBron went on Saturday night, because he had 8 more turnovers and 5 more missed free throws. I'm like, what are you doing, King?
And a 38,
what's wrong with you?
38 and 12.
Against a team that's 35 and 39 that doesn't even belong in the playoffs?
Don't do that, Skip.
At least the Clippers are playing a real basketball team with real stars.
Oh, real, huh?
Trustable stars.
Real.
As opposed to lame Dame. I don't know.
Lame Dame.
Yeah. Here we go.
Harsh.
Y'all see where you're going with this already.
Oh, now I know. A lot to get to. We will discuss LeBron, but I would like to start with Luka and Kawhi and exactly what happened there. The Clippers jumped out to a 21-point first-half lead yesterday against the Mavericks, only to see it slowly slip away. Dallas went on a 16-0 run in the third quarter to take the lead, and LA had to fight back to force overtime. A Marcus Morris three-pointer gave the Clippers a 1-point lead with under 10 seconds remaining, and that was good. But Luka Dončić responded with a step-back three at the buzzer to take the win and even the series at 2 games each. Shannon, what was the biggest reason the Clippers lost this game?
They can't stop Luka. It's a conga line to the basket. I mean, they cannot stop Luka. And I know everybody's going to make up about the last possession and how Reggie Jackson got switched on Luka. But he only got 3 points on that one.
Who's going to make that?
Whoa,
Is that a Twitter thing or what? I don't know.
You going to let me talk or you
I don't know.
Well, go ahead.
I'm just cross-examining.
Go ahead. You should go.
Everybody's going to say?
Go ahead.
No, go.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No, go.
No, go ahead.
I'm
go
just
ahead.
asking a question.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's your turn. I want to hear all the stuff that you have to say.
No, go ahead. I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You're going to pout and we're just barely starting the show?
I'm making a point, and then you cut me off.
Well, you said everybody. I want to know who everybody is.
Well, when it's your turn, you can say who everybody was. How about that?
Well, you interrupt me all the time and say, how can you say that, or what do you say?
Go ahead.
Seriously?
I'm good.
Oh, this is childish.
Go ahead.
Okay, I will go. The last shot of the game was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot by a terrible three-point shooter and a terrible clutch three-point shooter who was 0 for 10 in the last minute of regulation games or overtimes during the regular season with the score tied or within 1 basket.
Okay.
Think about that. He was 0 for 10. Think about this. Dallas was 0 for 18 in those situations because Dallas has been a terrible clutch shooting team down the stretch.
Yep.
Can't close games. In clutch time possessions, Dallas ranked 25th in the NBA. So this is like a 1,000,000-to-1 shot by a guy who, by the way, for those who have lost touch and have gone completely over the edge with this one shot, they couldn't stop Luka. Baloney, they couldn't stop Luka. They stopped him down the stretch of regulation. He did not score a basket for the last almost 3 minutes of the game because Kawhi Leonard took him and Kawhi Leonard stopped him. I didn't see any conga lines to the basket. Help me out. Did he score a point in the last 3 minutes of the game? Help me out. Show me. If you can show me a basket, the Clippers went on a 10-2 run and should have taken the game back after giving up a 33-point run to the Clippers because the Clippers were up 21 in the second quarter and fell all the way to 12 behind in the fourth quarter. I've never seen anything like it. You want to talk about taking the foot off the gas? And here came Dallas, and I thought, well, they're going to choke in the clutch because they always do.
Correct.
And they did. But the Clippers couldn't quite get there because Kawhi Leonard is not a great last shot taker or maker. But I told you that. I told you that from the start. I told you that in his San Antonio days. I'm on record. I didn't second guess. I first guessed this from the start. I told you last year. He's made one of those in his life, and it took 4 bounces from the corner to drop through against the Sixers, who just got eliminated and swept yesterday by Boston. So the point is, on the last play of the game, you're talking about a guy who during the regular season ranked 140th of 147 three-point shooters. He shot 31.6% during the regular season. It was horrendously bad. He's also a very poor free throw shooter. He's not quite as bad as LeBron James, but he's getting there. And by the way, he has now missed the most free throws has Luka Dončić in the playoffs so far. He's missed the most, 13. So you can't trust him at the late game free throw line, and you definitely can't trust him shooting three-point shots, especially to win games. 0 for 10, Dallas 0 for 18 in those situations. So what happens?
Yeah, what happened?
Once again, as I pointed out on Twitter, and I'm sure people were retweeting to you or sending it to you or whatever they do to you. I don't know what they do. I don't follow anybody. I don't even know how it works.
Why do you care what people do on Twitter?
But the point is, how was Reggie Jackson even in the game? How was he even in the game? People are going to say, no, I said it. I called it on Twitter immediately. Why is he in the game? Reggie Jackson, during the regular season, ranked in defensive win shares 235, 235th. Help me out. Doc, help me. Why was he in the game?
Who would you have preferred?
Give me JaMychal Green. Give me somebody bigger, because guess who he lined up on? As they lined up to bring the ball in with 3.7 seconds, not a lot of time, so something's going to have to happen pretty quickly, right?
Yep.
So what happens? You got Kawhi lined up on Luka face-to-face. Then you got, what? 6'3" Reggie Jackson on Kleba, who is 6'10". Is that a smart move? I don't even know what that was. Then you got Paul George at 6'8" lined up on little Seth Curry, who was killing them between him and Trey Burke. My God, they couldn't miss a shot. So I'll go with 6'8", Paul George on 6'2". But Marcus Morris winds up on Tim Hardaway Jr. That's big on sort of medium size. And Landry Shamet, who's a much better defender than Reggie Jackson at 6'4", much better. Okay. He is lined up on Dorian Finney-Smith, who is taking the ball in. If you wound up with Shamet on Luka, I'll be okay with that, because at least he's 6'4", and he will fight you on defense. Nobody ever accused Reggie Jackson of defending anybody in Oklahoma City or Detroit or with the Clippers, who picked him up, obviously, at midseason.
Correct.
So the point is, the other thing that drives me nuts about the Clippers, because they're so proud of their defense, we can switch everything because we have multiple pieces. We're all the same. We can switch. Don't switch anything. You can't switch on Luka. There's one guy who can stop him, and his name is Kawhi Leonard, former Defensive Player of the Year. You cannot switch. You cannot go under. You have to go over the screens on Luka, especially with 3.7 seconds left. You just say, Kawhi, go over the screen. Whatever happens, fight through the screen. You got him till death do you part at the end of this game. And all of a sudden, 6'3", they just switch it like Kleba just goes and stands, and Kawhi goes, okay, I give up. I'll go underneath. Now it's ball game, because you got 6'3" on 6'7" Luka Dončić. So he's going to get a clean shot off, even if it's the shot he doesn't want to shoot. But at that
that's the shot he
point,
wanted to shoot.
no, why would you want to shoot it? He's been terrible. By the way, just for a matter of fact, in this one game, he had already shot 3 air balls.
Yes.
Who shoots 3 air balls from 3? Nobody does. He is the prince of air balls.
Yes.
Luka Dončić leads the league in air ball shooting from 3. So what are the odds on the last shot? Well, if you give him a really open look, because a little man's on him, maybe you got a better chance. If you got the long arm of the law, the claw on him, maybe the claw gets up and it's going a little sideways. Maybe he airballs on the claw. Instead, it's Reggie Jackson, and he arcs it and he swishes it. More power to him. But it is a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Everything I just detailed, it cannot happen, and it did happen, and all of a sudden it's 2-2, and my bottom line is I predicted this was going to go 7. You laughed at me. This team is really good on offense. They didn't even have the unicorn yesterday, and they're still really, really good on offense because Trey Burke and Seth Curry were shooting them out of the gym, as well as Luka.
So in other words, what you cut me off when I said people will make it about Reggie Jackson is the very point that you outlined.
Nobody made it except me. I didn't see anybody making it. Okay? So
my point is that they can't stop Luka. You want to talk about the last 3 points, but what about the other 40? Who did he get that other 40 on? Did Kawhi not have it one point in time during regulation?
Maybe a
Absolutely.
couple times, but he just said, give him to me down the stretch.
What about Paul George? Did Paul George have him at any point down the stretch?
I didn't see him take him one time, mostly Marcus Morris.
What about during the course of the game?
I didn't see much.
If you watch the game in its entirety, they take turns. Mainly it is Marcus Morris, but Paul George will get him, Kawhi will take him, and he's cooking everybody. Guess who else is cooking everybody? Trey Burke, Seth Curry, Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway Jr. They can get whatever they want whenever they want. You keep telling me this great defensive team led by a defensive-minded head coach, and they get whatever they want whenever they want it. Skip Bayless, did you realize you keep talking about, well, he didn't even score in the last 3 minutes? The last 3 possessions of overtime. When your defense, see, I say this all the time. The mark of any great offense or defense, can you get done what you need to get done when you absolutely have to? It doesn't tell me anything. Yes, they had the highest offensive efficiency in the NBA history, but they lost more one-possession, two-possession games than anybody else. What good is that high offensive rating if you can't score when you need to?
Good question.
But when they needed it yesterday, what did they get done? Got it done. Steph Curry had Paul George on skates. Trey Burke had Kawhi on skates. Tim Hardaway Jr. was getting to the rim. Conga line to the basket. Because I'm trying to figure out if a man 4-10, hold on. Make sure I get this right. Luka Dončić was 4-10 for three-point shot, for three-point lane. He had 18 made field goals. So where did the other 14 come from? They ain't free throws, right? So in other words, he's getting whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants.
Did you see them double him one time the whole game?
No, Skip, that's not the game. I get it. You and I have been talking about this.
Pride, as the Bible says, goeth before the fall.
Remember,
as in fall on your face.
Remember we talked about this last week? Doc, the Mavericks go on this large run, and Doc standing on the sideline like he had the 92 Olympics and won't call timeout. Oh, we got this. Who got with? Okay, you got this. Skip Bayless, you said LeBron James runs from shots. Here's Luka Dončić had, as you mentioned, he airballed one, but he's
three.
He's not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid of the moment.
I think
That's
he was afraid of the free throw line.
No.
He is a bad free throw shooter. He's shaky.
And I want to know one thing. Your guy, Mr. Clutch, you tell me he's the best basketball player in the NBA. Why did he miss the last second shot, and why would he pass the three-point shot? He's in the lane. He's in the lane. Why would he not shoot that?
I've criticized him 100 times on this show. He's not a big shot taker and maker. I'm talking about a game-winning shot taker and maker. He made one last year, but it was from the corner. It was last second. I got to shoot this. And it bounced somehow 4 times on the rim and fell through. I've never seen anything like that before. Yesterday, you have to force the action. They don't run any plays for him. And by the way, who got doubled the whole game? Help me out. Kawhi Leonard got doubled nearly every possession. You know why? Because the Clippers, who've only played together now, what are they up to? Well, think about it. They played together 16 times as a full roster in 76 tries. 16 out of 76. Doc is still trying to figure out.
No, he's not.
Who's what? Who do I put in at the end? Who can defend at the end? I don't know yet.
Can't nobody defend.
Okay.
They're averaging 120-something points. How the hell you get defensive out of that?
They finally got serious down the stretch of regulation. Well, you saw what happened. Kawhi said, I'm going to take him. You heard it on the broad. No, you don't listen. But again, Van Gundy said, Kawhi should take him. And Mark Jackson said, I think he just said, I'm going to take him. And he did for the last 3 minutes, and he disrupted them. They scored 2 free throws because Kawhi switched onto Tim Hardaway Jr., and he had a wide-open 3, and Kawhi went running at him and slapped his hand on the follow-through. And that resulted in 2 out of 3 free throws. That's the only points they scored over the last almost 3 minutes of the game. 10-2 Clippers.
Yeah, they get Skip, a lot of that. They get sloppy. They really do. They turn the ball over, and Luka got tired. People don't understand this, and now I'm starting to see it, and I thought I had a good idea. It's a lot of hard work to drive the ball as much as Luka, as much as LeBron drives the ball to the basket, because not only are you getting hit, you're getting knocked down. Skip, what do they say about the quarterback? even if we don't make him pick himself up off the ground, he's going to get tired of picking himself up. So that's what Luka is driving. And Luka's not crafty because James Harden can slither and slide and make it easy. He's falling down, and it's wearing on him. He played what he played, 45 minutes yesterday.
Career high.
So he's getting fatigued. That's why he started taking those threes, and he was coming up short because of his legs. And remember, Skip, he did this on a bum ankle.
Well, was it bum? How bum was it?
You saw it. You saw him do what he did, Skip. So I just want you to know.
The proof is in the pudding.
It is, and it was good.
He was pushing off. Pushing off like, did you see him limp into the lane? I didn't see him limp one time.
No. See, I don't know.
I think it was 100%.
Who coined that term? The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the taste. Oh. You saw the man roll his ankle on Friday night, and then he couldn't get up and he couldn't go back in the ball game, but he got a triple dub quick.
There's a little melodrama going on there. Hopping all the way to the locker room.
Hold on. But you didn't say anything when you saw him limping up there after game one, when you say Luka looked tired walking up those steps. You dramatized that. But I just want you to know one thing. Had Kane Fitzgerald, the official, had not intervened, it would be 3-1 right now. 3-1 right now, Dallas Mavericks. Because right now they have no answer for Luka Dončić. Luka can get whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants. And I'm tired of this. You and everybody else has been said it. All the two greatest wing defenders in all of basketball since Michael and Scottie happen to be on the Clippers. They can switch everything.
One of them is a basket case right now on offense and defense, and his name is George Paul. George Paul has lost it psychologically. He's lost his edge, lost his confidence on both ends.
He missed the layup that would have put him up 4.
I was going to get to that in just a moment.
Okay, go ahead.
Put him up 3, actually.
Yeah, 3. Okay.
In overtime.
Yes.
And that was the end of the Clippers in overtime. So the point is, in the big picture of this, Luka was extraordinary for much of the game. I didn't see any ankle slowing him down at all. But the point is, for the Clippers, it's Kawhi or bust on both ends. And again, talk about getting worn out. This guy on offense is all they got, and they don't really run any plays for him. He doesn't like post up or run off screens. They just lob it over to him on the side, and they say, okay, get one. Sometimes they pick for him, but mostly they don't. He has to dribble between 2 men, maybe attack the baseline, maybe go down the baseline, maybe slide into the lane and shoot his mid-range jumper, which is the best since Michael Jordan's mid-range.
He missed 2.
And by the way, he's scored so far in the playoffs, the most fourth-quarter points has been scored by Kawhi Leonard, but not at the end of the game because that's a play on which obviously you need to drive it into the lane and then pull up and go up and shoot it, or get to the free throw line. I would trust Kawhi to make the 2 free throws more than I would for him to make the 3-point shot.
If I'm watching the game yesterday, anybody that's watching the game yesterday, the ball should have been in Sweet Lou Williams' hand, because this is not even a ball game without Sweet Lou. Sweet Lou was giving it to folks in the fourth quarter. It was him. He single-handedly kept you in the ball game, got you the lead. With the and one, the 3 in the corner. Sweet Lou had it cooking yesterday, and you put it in the wrong guy's hand at the end of the ball game.
Kawhi Leonard only had 32 yesterday.
Hold up.
32?
How many did Sweet Lou have?
He had 36. 36.
And he played 12 minutes fewer.
Yep.
So just imagine if you had given him the ball.
I would have been fine with it.
You say he's your closer.
I do.
So why is the guy got the ball in his hand that's not the closer?
I thought he might force the issue. I thought he might get to the free throw line, something LeBron would never try to do.
Well, your guy didn't do it either.
Well, he didn't. He didn't try anything. He dribbled and he dribbled, and then he thought, I guess I've obliviated the clock here. I guess I got to just step back and shoot a long jump shot.
Okay, you know what?
And it's no good. That's not his game.
Okay, well, guess what? They gave him a reprieve in overtime with 38 seconds. Can you explain, talk to people play-by-play that one?
What are you talking about?
They gave Kawhi Leonard a reprieve in overtime. He shot the ball with 38 seconds.
Oh, he
Can
missed
you talk
it.
to? What? No. I don't. Oh, he missed it. No, talk like you would if that was LeBron
Well,
James.
I just killed him for missing the last shot.
You should kill him for playing defense. Lack thereof.
On the possessions down the stretch in the fourth quarter, maybe we should see those
Well,
possessions.
we should.
Because Luka missed a 3 on him because he was all up into him, and then he missed a little 11-footer in the lane because he was getting bounced hard. He was getting bodied by Kawhi.
The man on the bum ankle.
Watch this. Watch
he
this.
on the bum
Here's
ankle.
Kawhi Leonard. He almost stole it from him there. He's bothering him because he's long and he's strong and he's quick.
Dancing on him.
He went under and he got away with it and he got up in his face. See, that should happen on the last shot.
No, it shouldn't.
It's the long arm of the claw.
No, it shouldn't.
Yep, and here we go again. He's going to try to get in the lane. Watch how physical Kawhi gets with him. He went under and he got away with it, but he's physical. Luka can't do anything. He can't outquick him. He can't cross
That's
him.
an easy shot right there.
Okay.
Skip, that's a point
easy
blank.
shot. He's falling sideways.
That's Luka.
He back-rimmed it.
Skip, he's a one-foot shot taker in the lane. If you watch him, he does that a lot.
Kawhi Leonard really bothered him way more than Marcus Morris bothered him on any possession the whole game.
I want to know how much they're actually bothering him, considering he's averaging 31, 10, and 10. So how much are they actually bothering him in 4 games?
Well, how about shooting threes? They can bother him like crazy. They just let him shoot it.
If I was him, I wouldn't even shoot a 3 because you can't stop me.
I agree.
You can't stop me. Why would I send somebody else into the grocery store to get my groceries when I can walk right up in there and get them myself and walk right out? Because he's getting to the lane and to the rim any way he wants. He's not athletic. He doesn't have Westbrook's speed. He doesn't have LeBron's ability. But all I know is that Euro step from one side to the other, Paul George was looking like, where did he go with you? How did he do that?
How many free throws did he get to shoot yesterday?
He didn't shoot but 5.
Oh, and he made how many? 3.
Hold on.
Missed the most free throws in the playoffs.
Let that sink in for just a second, people at home. This man got 43 points and made 3 made free throws. So in other words, and he only made 4 3-pointers. He had 18 total field goal attempts. So I just need to know if he's not good at the mid-range, he's a terrible 3-point shooter. He only made 3 free throws yesterday. Where the other hell did those 14 baskets come from?
Kawhi's going to have to take him from start to finish because Kawhi can keep him out of the lane.
But here's the thing. The reason why you don't do that is because that's your offensive guy. You want him to wear down because I want you to know he tries to take Luka for the entirety of the game. His offense going to suffer, and you're going to get blown out. He did that without the unicorn.
He's supposed to have a co-star whom he recruited out of Oklahoma City, and his name is now George Paul.
Hold on,
not Paul George. Playoff P stands for playoff P. I won't say what it was.
Hold on, Skip, but here's the thing, Skip.
Okay.
You wouldn't beat him up like that. He gave himself that name. Nobody had ever called him that till he was up on stage with Russ and Carmelo.
Are you kidding me? Playoff P so far in this series has shot 29% from the floor and 22% from 3. It's virtually impossible to overcome your second star shooting that poorly just to be 2-2 against the offense ranked the best ever in overall offensive rating. No offense in the history of the league was ranked better than this one. And they can all shoot it because we just talked about Seth, who's starting to look like Steph to me, and Trey Burke and Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, they can all shoot the lights out, and they feed off Luka's playmaking because the one thing he does the best is playmaking. He's a special passer.
Skip, they get points from Boban.
Okay.
Don't sleep on
Boban
Boban.
is Van Gundy said yesterday, he is an excellent offensive player because he's almost like automatic from like 7 feet. He just flicks his wrist and it goes in. That's hard to do for 7'5".
Yeah, you can't do anything about that.
George Paul is a disaster, and it's hard to carry him because Doc's in that conundrum situation of how do you get him out of his slump? Well, you just tell him to keep shooting.
Right.
And he's not the mentally toughest guy. He went on social the other day after the game on Friday night, I believe, and fired back at everybody and said, I'll be who I am. Well, you've let them get to you. They're under your skin. You're thinking about it. And now you've let yourself devolve into a playoff basket case. That's what you are.
I mean, why are you surprised? Do you remember Game 6 against Utah?
Do I?
Russ goes for 46, Paul George has 5.
Yeah.
In LeBron's last...
By the way, Donovan Mitchell was going for like 50 in that game.
He went 50.
Yeah,
he went for another
night.
50 pieces last night. Skip, LeBron's last year in Cleveland, Game 4 in the sweep game, Paul George had 15 after having 44 and 29 and 33s. And then he has 15 in the closeout. So this is not new. People all of a sudden, I understand. Where is that guy that finished 3rd in the MVP voting? Because here's the thing, Skip. If your offense is suffering, you're like, Doc, I don't have it going offense. But I'm going to take this challenge. I'm going to shut Luka down. That's what you got to do, Skip. If you're struggling offensively, you have to find a way to contribute in other ways. Well, Paul George, supposedly everybody's been telling me, since I don't know what I'm talking about,
That's
then
what he
he's an
said.
elite defender.
That's what he said after Friday's game. I'm not James Harden. I don't score the way...
Taking a shot at James Harden.
No, it wasn't a shot.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. I don't take it as a shot at all. He's saying, I do all the little things.
What little things is he doing?
None. That's what I said. I got nothing from him yesterday on defense. I got nothing. Show me steals, show me deflection.
See, what happens is that James Harden is such an elite level scorer. And people are like, well, that's basically trying to insinuate that's all James Harden does. So they are backhanded compliment. Oh, yeah, James is an elite level player, but I'm not James Harden, which means I can do other things. James Harden can do other things, too. Yep. Maybe he doesn't sit in a chair, but he's getting steals. He's rebounding the ball. When is Paul George going to do some of that?
So speaking of that, I got to show it one time just to drive this in. This took the heart and soul out of the Clippers with 1:30 left in overtime. George Paul gets the ball underneath, wide open, and he's a little too far underneath, you could argue, but it's as wide open as you can get, and it's a right-handed layup. And just, you can't make that. Now you're lost. Yeah. You're a lost cause, and they know it, and it's hard for them to psychologically overcome that.
That was it.
Yep. That was the end. That was
and he knew, I mean, that's why he's like, he's scared. You know, sometimes you just throw your hands up and say, I ain't got it, bro.
No mercy. LeBron filled up the box score Saturday night against the Blazers, leading the Lakers to a Game 3 win and a 2-1 series lead. The King led all scorers with 38 and also had a game-high 12 rebounds. He also had 8 assists in LA's 116-108 win. So, Shannon, how impressive was LeBron in this win? What's happening?
Yeah, it was a bad weekend for you, bro. It was a bad weekend for you.
It was a great weekend.
No way. Let me give it your feet. Yeah. I'm making sure I got to hear Andy, because Andy's going to tell me, you know, I need to wrap it up. Don't give me that right here. There you go, Skip. I thought you had left. After what LeBron did on Saturday night. You still here? 38, 12, and 8. Skip, did you realize this is the 61st time that LeBron James has led his entire team in points, rebounds, and assists? The next two closest are Tim Duncan and Larry Bird in the 20s. He was special. This is what we expected to see of LeBron James. Get the ball downhill. I'm going to the rim, Nurkic. I'm going to the rim, right side. And if I believe you're above the rim and to challenge me, I'm going to kick it out. Skip, if they can just make a few shots, I'm not asking them, as you say, I'm not asking them to be Steph Curry. I don't need them to be Klay Thompson. I just need you to hit probably like 35, 36% of those threes. And it's over. It should have been. If they'd have made the free throws on Saturday night, this was a 20-point whitewash. You know that, I know that. They got no answers for it. Carmelo means well, and Carmelo's having an unbelievable season. I think he's done enough to show that he should be in the league again next year for his 18th season. Gary Trent is too small. And when you play those bigs, and remember, that's why I got him on here, the brow. They got no answer. He should murk everybody when he walks on the court. Anthony Davis needs to leave when he leaves his hotel room, he needs to say, I am a generational talent. I'm murking everybody tonight. Nobody can see me. I'm the baddest mofo here. And that's the approach. And he took that approach. And everybody went, look at it. See, I told you AD saw. Nah, AD had 5 points in the first half. Had he made his free throws, he'd have had 12. But then all of a sudden, the same thing happened. Remember game 3, Skip? I mean, game 2? He got it. Give me that white side. Boom. Give me Nurkic. Boom. And then he got that mid-range game going. Woo, Skip. Then he finished that, hit 11 on him in the third, and then 12 in the fourth. And the coach said, hold on. I appreciate it. Let me get these threes for you. Wow. Step back up. It's over. And it was over, Skip. LeBron James, 38, 12. Are you sure he's 35? I might need to say, I might need to pull up President Trump or Bertha. I might need to see that birth certificate. Because he playing like he's 27.
Tell me when you're finished.
I finished.
Good. It is shameful that you and your man, LeBron James, are gloating about doing anything against the trail Blazers who trail every game.
No, they had to lead.
They don't belong in the playoffs. Let's put this in some perspective, can we? What is Toronto doing, or what has Toronto done now to Brooklyn?
They swept them.
Swept them.
Yeah.
By an average of 21 points a game, Toronto just swept Brooklyn right out of the playoffs. What happened when Portland played Brooklyn for the right to get in the playoff game, the play-in game, right? It went to the wire, and it took Karis LeVert missing a jumper that was very makeable. CJ did a nice job on him for once, because Portland is by far the worst defensive team in the whole bubble. They're pathetic because they came in to the bubble 29-37. They were 12 games under 500 when they hit the bubble.
Yes.
And now they're a grand total of 35-39. 35-39. And you're over there gloating about a mismatch that should have been a sweep. I called it a sweep sitting right here. I said this should be an easy sweep.
Nope.
And your man, the king, game one, he's got the basketball in his hands with a 6-point lead with 7 minutes to go, and he upchucks. The whole team upchucked because AD in that game stood for all done in the fourth quarter. You know and I know you cannot trust him when the chips are down against a legitimate team. You know and I know what Charles Barkley said the other day is exactly right. He doesn't have that dog in him. If he suddenly realizes he's got a supreme advantage, he can front run with Bron, because nobody can front run better than LeBron James.
Kawhi?
Oh, stop it. LeBron, we got to. This was the ultimate of that game on Saturday night. At the end of this game, LeBron makes a three, and he's like a 34% three-point shooter, so he's not exactly a hot hand. What did he do at the end of the game when he made his last three? He backs down the court. Here it is. He decides, I got this. That put him up 14, front runner, and he's mean-mugging going down the court. He is mean-mugging the Portland Trailblazers. And I immediately tweeted, at least save it for the next round. You're wasting that on them? You're a tough guy, LeBron. You're killing the Trailblazers. Way to go. You're killing Carmelo, or what's left of Carmelo. Stop it.
Carmelo.
Just stop it. And whatever happened to Dame time? Can somebody explain to me? I've been hearing Dame time, Dame time. I've been hearing across the table special from Shannon. He is special.
He is, absolutely.
In fourth quarters, I can't find him. The other night in the fourth quarter, the game was still hanging in the balance, and he goes 1 for 6 from the field and 0 for 4 from 3. Can we see those 4? I don't know. Maybe I just fictionalize these. Maybe I'm exaggerating. There's the first one. No. He's being guarded by Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, come on, Dame. That's way short.
Legs.
Didn't have a
legs.
Oh, it's a leg situation.
Look at this.
It was his hand. Oh, that just airballed and missed the rim. At least it hit the backboard.
Skip. Hold on, Skip. You do realize.
What are you doing?
For the last
Dame time?
For the last 3 weeks, they had to win almost every game. He's playing 42, 43 minutes a night. You can't continuously play. And he's playing every other day. This is not 2 days off in between. He's been playing 42, 43, 44 minutes every other day for 3 weeks now. Eventually, that's going to catch up with you. You look at CJ playing heavy minutes. Melo playing 42 minutes. Skip, you can't play that.
Back-to-backs?
No, every other day. Skip, they've been playing.
Once upon a time, I covered this league when the playoffs were just full of back-to-backs. The whole playoff run, lots of back-to-back.
But, Skip, they didn't play at the pace what they're playing at now. And you're asking a man. And, Skip, he's giving you, it's not like he had 34 points and 2 assists. He's giving you 34 and 7. He's giving you 36 and 8. He's doing what he can. But at the end of the day, Skip, they got to be able to keep the Lakers off the glass. That's where they're losing the game, because the Lakers are killing them on the offensive end. Now, although they're not getting second-chance points, but it's keeping you got to guard another possession, and you got to guard another possession.
Yeah.
Give the Lakers credit. Now all of a sudden, everybody talking about that's an 8 seed, that's Portland. I don't hear nobody thumping their chest, because everybody, all these pundits, all these experts, remember you quoted these experts. What are the experts now?
So I'm back to Damian Lillard. I just want to know how he compares to those 2 young men that I keep watching. Last night it was late at night. But I'm talking about Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray. Those are Dame timers. Those are clutch, late-game shooters. They are special. Both of those kids, and they're still kids, are special.
I'm not taking either one of them over Dame.
Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, same nickname, same initials. Dom Mitchell has 43 fourth-quarter points. That leads the whole playoffs. Jamal is third in that category. In the last 2 minutes of fourth quarter and into overtime, those two are 1-2 in playoff scoring. Dame is now tied for 37th. If you add in the overtime, he's tied for 36th. And last night, they scored in the fourth quarter 18 for Donovan, and Jamal scored 21 in just the fourth quarter. It's outrageously great.
It's ridiculous.
And it's the kind of shooting where I say, oh, I get that. That's Dame time. That's unstoppable because both of them can shoot mid-range jumpers. Damian doesn't have that shot.
Oh, he got it.
He's smaller, and yet I don't think he's much smaller than Donovan. I think they're about the same size.
Yeah, Donovan's like he's about 6'3". But
I don't think he is. I think he's 6'1".
You think so?
Sure. Well, that's what he's listed at, 6'1".
Skip, I think the thing is for Donovan lived at the free throw line. What was he, 17 of 18 last night at the free throw line? Jamal Murray was getting his basically in the mid-range and the three-point shot. But the difference is neither one of Denver doesn't play any defense, Skip. Because when they needed to get a stop, Murray had got cooking. And he's like, okay, one stop. And what they do? They come down and get a layup. Okay, he comes back and matches. One stop. Okay, Mike Conley hits a three. Okay, come on, guys, let's dig in. Let's get one stop. And there's somebody hitting a mid-range shot. Nuggets can't stop anybody.
So everybody's gloating for LeBron and for AD because they were the first Laker teammates since clear back in 2002 to go plus 25 and plus 10.
Yeah, Sacramento.
In the same game, and it was Sacramento. Okay, this was achieved again against the frail Blazers. That was achieved back in 2002 in Game 7 of the playoffs at Sacramento against a team that went 61-21. That was the franchise record number of wins for Chris Webber and company. 61 wins. Again, the frail Blazers right now are 35-39, and you're gloating about that? So Shaq and Kobe did that at Sacramento. It was also, if you tack on the 8 assists, it was the first time in a playoff game since 2014 that two teammates had plus 25, plus 10, and plus 8 assists. That was KD. That was Russell Westbrook. That game was a game 6, I believe. It was at the Clippers. It was CP3, Blake, DeAndre, JJ Redick. That was a real basketball team that won 57 games. That's the most a Clippers team has ever won in franchise history.
That real Clipper team, and it still didn't advance past the second round.
Okay, but that's not a real team. But this is pathetic.
But wait a minute.
Okay, and so now LeBron is gloating or taking credit for.
What do you think?
He's passed into second most playoff wins. He's passed Tim Duncan.
Yeah, he acknowledged him.
Do you realize the degree of difficulty that Tim had in the West versus LeBron in the East? Do you realize that Tim Duncan had to play the Lakers 7 times in playoff series? LeBron had to play the Lakers 0 times in playoff series? Wow, interesting.
But see, you never make these concessions with Tom Brady having to play in the AFC East. You never make that.
Okay, but we're talking about playoffs now.
Yeah.
We're talking about playoff wins.
Okay.
We're not talking about divisional or regular season.
But in the playoffs, and the NFC was where it was at.
Okay.
Because the Green Bay, you had to go through. Skip, look, let's not diminish what LeBron is doing. Portland is...
I'm going to diminish.
I know you want to. But Dame, look, I don't believe that and like I said, I believe Dame would need to average 40. But you're asking him to play 43, 44 minutes.
I guess
every
he's just
other
wearing
day.
out.
Yes!
In the three, they played 3 games now. In the 3 fourth quarters, he's shooting 31% from the field. Is that good? And 33% from 3, which is a little better than he did against Golden State last year in 4 straight fourth quarters. He shot 31% from the field, same as now, but only 29 from 3. So that's 4 straight fourth quarters there, not to mention the incredible long drought that he had. He went almost 2 full fourth quarters without scoring a basket, if you recall, against Brooklyn, then combined with Memphis, then combined with Game 1 against the Lakers. I just keep saying, show me. Just take over a game and do what Jamal did. Do what Donovan has done again and again to put them up 3-1.
If you don't miss 15 free throws, we're not even having a discussion.
I agree. This should have been over from the start.
Yes.
I told you. You said 6. You said, so I guess you're backed into a corner. Are you going to pick Portland to win a game?
I didn't. Look, I don't really want to get into all this specific. Well, you said 6 games, you said 5 games, you said 2 games.
It should be a sweep.
No,
they should be ashamed they lost game 1.
No.
Ashamed.
No.
Yes.
All I'm saying is GOAT James is doing what GOAT James does. You see this. And guess what? And we aren't we number 2 in three-pointers made? How we get there? We can't shoot. We are terrible, but we number 2 behind Steph Curry. We number 2 behind Chef Steph.
Against the worst defensive team, I think, in all of basketball.
So he made all those 300 three-pointers against that Portland team.
Cakewalk.
No, don't do this, Skip.
Cakewalk.
No, give us our
LeBron had
credit.
cakewalk through the East.
Give us our credit.
Yeah.
I want my credit. I want my credit, Skip.
You get none until the next round when it starts. Then maybe they'll play some. I don't know. They're going to play. Will Russ be back? Will it be Russ and James? At least you'd have some competition. I'll take Russ and James in the fourth quarter over CJ and the other guy, whatever his name is.
Dollar.
Yeah. What time is it?
Whatever.
I think it's time to change topics.
I think Jamal Murray and I think Donovan Mitchell's playing unbelievable, but I'm not taking either one of them over Dame.
Boy, I would.
Okay, we are going to change topics right now and get back to more that was happening with the Clippers and Mavs series, guys, because yesterday during warm-ups for Game 4, Clippers forward Montrezl Harrell apologized to Luka Dončić after cameras caught Harrell calling Luka a, quote, bleep, bleep, white boy in Game 3. Luka told reporters, quote, sometimes you say things you don't want to say. He apologized. I respect that, so no problems. Shannon, should Montrezl have been fined or suspended here, in your opinion?
I believe he should have been fined. Yeah, we got to be careful here of saying that in the heat of competition, we're allowed to say things because that's the emotion of the ball game. I get it, yes. And Skip, a lot of times, like black on black, and we say things to each other, that's different. But when someone else outside of that were to say that, we're not going to say that's just trash talk. We're going to become highly enraged, and we're going to be upset. Because I can just imagine, had Luka Dončić said, be a B-boy. And I wonder if that would have been, man, that's just Luka trash talking. We would have been outraged. Well, we should be equally outraged. See, if you're about equality, you can't just want equality for your race or for your gender or when it comes to your community. You got to want it for everyone. So I'm glad Trez apologized. I do not, but it is a racist comment. I don't believe it's racism because there are 2 different things. Racism is about power, Skip. I can deny you from going somewhere. That's what we talk about institutional and systemic racism. It's the policies that are in place that prevent people, a race or a minority of people, from doing things. That's racism. A racist comment. And that can be construed as that. Because remember, Draymond got suspended for a game for calling LeBron a B-word. Now, there have been times, now this was David Stern, where he suspended Rajon Rondo because he leveled a slur, a homophobic slur at Bill Kennedy, an official. Roy Hibbert, Skip, at the press conference.
Yep.
He uttered that. He was fine. Kobe was fine. Skip, I'm glad Trez apologizing. Yes, in the heat of the moment. And this is not, and I get people like, well, it's the heighten. It's not a heighten. You have to understand, if you expect something, you have to be willing to give something. So because if Luka has said that, man, we would have lost our mind. Our community would have lost our mind. So be careful when you say people say things out of frustration, because that's the argument that the other side used. I was frustrated. I was angry. And I said that. That's not a reflection of who I am. Do I believe Trez is racist? No. But that comment should have leveled him a fine. And the NBA should have came out and issued a statement and said this was unacceptable. And moving forward, we find Montrez, and moving forward, this will not be tolerated. Simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less. Trez was wrong. He admitted he was wrong, but he should have been fined on this occasion.
Okay. I hear everything you just said, and I'm with most of what you said. And I realize we are in heightened times of racial sensitivity, and I'm glad for that. And I realize that a lot of white people are out there right now saying, double standard. You black people have held our feet to the fire for everything we say and do, and now a black man has called a white man white boy. I get that. Now I'm going to speak as just a white boy. I personally am not offended by being called a white boy. It's racial identification, but I do not see it as a racist slur directed at white people. Obviously, there is no word in our language that equals the N-word when white people use that against black people.
Correct, I agree.
So unless you can tell me something, I've never heard a slur used by blacks to whites that I would say, ooh, that's that bad word that you use, that unacceptable, that evil word. I always tell you, that N-word ending in hard ER, it's the most evil word in the English language. I wish it could be eradicated, but I don't know an equivalent the other way.
No, I don't.
And by the way, if we reverse this subject, just for the record, if we reverse this incident and Luka Dončić had dared to call Montrezl Harrell a black boy, that is as racist. That's only one cut below the N-word for me because, as you well know, boy is from slavery days when the slave master referred to the slaves, the male slaves, as boys.
Yep.
I can't even, it makes me cringe. I get chills even saying the word. So if you reverse it, you better believe all hell is going to be unleashed on Luka, whoever would dare to say that.
But what if Luka said, man, I got caught up, I was in the heat of the moment?
Okay.
It's just basketball. You know, I'm trash talking.
Okay, let's talk about heat of the moment. Okay, let me frame this better. I, in the sports context, have been called white boy numerous times all the way back into my Little League days because when we played the black kids and it was still segregated in Oklahoma City in those days, and I played the same black kids and became close friends with a lot of them, T. Pendarvis. There's some really close friends that I kept to this day.
Right.
And the point is, they would often say that white boy can hit or something like that. In a basketball context, back at Vanderbilt, intramural basketball, we used to play. The scholarship football players got to have a team in intramural basketball, and they were mostly black kids. And when I played against them, they'd say white boy, but they would usually use it out of respect, like you can shoot or you just made a play. Way to go, white boy.
Well, hey, if you say, when they said Larry Bird, man, Larry Bird's a tough-ass white boy. That's one thing. But when you say B.A.
Okay. Now, thank you. Now we're to the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
Would I be offended if you call me, I'm going to say it one time just so people know what it is. Just one time.
Yeah.
Bitch-ass white boy.
Yes.
If you or anybody else call me that, yeah, you got a problem because that's what I'm going to focus and fixate on.
Right.
The rest of it, like white boy, it's even out in popular culture. There's a movie not too long ago, White Boy Rick, right?
Yeah.
There's a song by Foreigner back in the day in the late 70s called Dirty White Boy, and it was an ode to Elvis Presley, who was a badass white boy.
Play that funky music, white boy.
There you go. Okay, so that's that. But once we get to B.A. white boy, now we got a problem.
Right.
So why was that used by Montrez as he had just scored on Luka and he's backing up the court? You B.A. white boy.
Yeah.
Okay. It was because I believe that Luka started this on a previous possession. And he dared to. First, he tripped up Montrez. And then he turned to him, and Doc said he cursed. And I couldn't really see it on the tape, but he accused Montrezl Harrell of flopping.
He said, told him to stop flopping.
Okay, stop flopping. And he either maybe stuck an MF on it or maybe put stop effing flopping or something. I couldn't really tell. But Doc said he swore. Okay, help me out here. What do we know about Montrezl Harrell? He is a beast of a basketball player. Huge pride, wears his emotions on his sleeve, and he is a man's man.
Yes.
Well, if you accuse that guy of flopping, have you not questioned his manhood? Wouldn't you take that personally from Luka, even though you respect his game? But, boy, that's kind of the ultimate basketball insult to say, quit flopping.
Yeah, but I'm trying to, and I believe I read his lips correctly. I believe he said, stop flopping, man.
Okay. Well, Doc said he swore, but whatever.
Skip, if he wanted to swear, why would he swear in his native tongue? And Doc would have never knew what the hell he was talking about.
He speaks good English.
I know he does.
And by the way, he has become known as a really good Larry Bird-esque trash talker. And you know what? I love his trash talk. It can go profane. I don't care because it shows me he is not afraid of any, especially the black player, the black stars. He's not afraid. He will mix it up. He will trade barbs with
when
you.
he hit that shot, what did he do? He turned around, he pumped his chest, he said, this my bleed. This my bleed.
Okay, good. So we have what was also his reputation in his rookie year, soft.
Yes.
You could rough him up.
Yes.
You could get physical with him and knock him off his game psychologically.
Yes.
So Montrezl is angry that he called him out for flopping. He said it right to his face.
Yes.
Quit flopping, man, or whatever he called him. And so Montrezl comes back down the next time, and he just goes in and hammers the ball home over Luka.
And
so take that is what he's saying, B.A. White boy, okay? I get it. Luka started it, and he was finishing it. Is it like the nicest thing in the world to say? No. But am I, as a white boy, taking that personally? No. I don't think Luka took it personally. And to Montrezl's credit, he went over and apologized to him, and I got to watch it. Did you get to see it on the sideline?
I did, yes.
It looks sincere.
Because Trez was backing up, Luka, I don't know, because it was a quiet jam, so I don't know if Luka actually heard it.
I don't think he did.
Maybe he could have, because like I said, Skip, there's no fans.
Maybe.
Because they're fans, obviously, you're not going to hear
maybe
somebody
some of the other Mavericks heard it.
And so that's my only thing. And we got to get out of the, in the things, in competition, people say things. Nah, watch your tongue. You know what to say in a competition. You've been competing for a long time. I've competed for a long time. And I've said some things when I'm dealing with black-on-black players. But when I'm dealing with white players, I know what's offensive. And I'm not going to use the heat of competition, the heat of battle, to throw something out there that says, man, I just got caught up in the moment. No.
Okay, I got it. But he was retaliating.
Yeah.
And in the end, I don't think any white person who understands sports would be offended by that. I don't consider that a racist slur against white people.
Yeah, it's hard to me to say the equivalent of Luka saying "stop flopping, man," and equating to Trez calling him a white boy. I don't think that's the equivalent. That's a false equivalence. That's not even comparable. But like I said, Trez apologized, and I think the thing, and for me, for him to take the initiative, because a lot of times, Skip, you get so dug in, I said what I said and I'm not apologizing. But for Trez to be the bigger man, to know he was wrong, that's the first. I was wrong. To go up to him and say, bro, I ain't mean anything by it. I got caught up in the moment. Please accept my apology.
Okay, Luka said he was surprised he even apologized.
Yeah.
So was he offended? I don't think so, unless he was just putting on a...
Skip, if somebody were to say, and let's just say I'm playing in Slovenia, and somebody says something to me, I might not even know what the equivalent of it is. So how am I going to get upset? You might have said something that's offensive. I don't know what it is. I'm sure Luka, he could speak English, but I don't think he's as fluent up into the slang and the lingo.
I don't know. I think he's pretty good. I think he knows what he's saying.
I know he's a good ball player. I know he's a good ball player.
He is a good ball player.
He's great. Oh, baby bird. Say it with me. Say it with me.
You cannot put him in the same sentence with Larry Bird when he can't shoot a lick.
Oh, he getting better. I can't tell he can't shoot. A 38-footer says he can shoot. That's what that say.
3 air balls in a game says he can't shoot.
It don't matter.
Oh,
Skip, all I need to do, look, I can miss 5 field goals, but if I kick that game winner, what that mean? And he said it's 5.
If you miss 5, you'd be on a plane home.
No, that's the Cowboy kicker. That's what y'all get. That's what your kicker did.
When Luka made that shot, I literally jumped off my couch. I was celebrating. I'm like, what is happening right now?
I didn't jump up, I just hit bang.
He's 21 years old. What were you guys doing when he was 21? 21.
I know a guy that was 21 that was still in college dorms at 21. And somebody say he the GOAT.
No mercy.
The Ravens have released All-Pro safety Earl Thomas after he punched a teammate during an on-field altercation. According to reports, the Cowboys are now the favorites to sign Thomas. Safety hasn't been shy about wanting to play for the Cowboys. Remember, in 2017, he approached then Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett and told him to, quote, come get me, when he still had another season on his contract. I remember we talked plenty about that. Shannon, should the Cowboys sign him?
I expect that they will, but Shannon Sharpe would not. Because I believe in a situation like this, you need to do your homework, Skip. When a team says they're releasing a player for conduct detrimental, although everybody hears about the act where he punched a teammate that plays basically the same position, conduct detrimental is not a singular act.
It's not.
It's plural. Okay, so what led up to conduct detrimental? What are the series of events? What is the chain of events that got us here? Skip, you're releasing a guy 3 weeks before the season that you just gave a boatload of money to. Why? What is it? What's the underlying theme? See, people think, when the Ravens released when the Raiders released Antonio Brown, for conduct detrimental.
Yep.
Skip, it wasn't that singular act. It wasn't just because it was the ballroom. It was the late. It was the tardiness. So in a situation like this, I believe it's the very same thing. Was it missed practice, missed meetings, late to practice, late to meetings? What was his conduct in the locker room? Skip, let me tell you something. I would like to think I had a lot to do with some of the relationships and how the Ravens locker room is conducted. Because I thought Ozzie Newsome did a great thing when he brought myself and Rod Woods and Rob Burnett was a former Cleveland Browns that was brought to Baltimore. And Mike McQuarrie, I thought Ozzie did a great job of infusing a lot of veteran players with some of the youth. And my job and Rod's job was, as accomplished players, is to let the other players know this is how you conduct yourself. Because we weren't going to always be there, Skip. And those young players, the Ray Lewises, the Peter Boulwares, those Chris McAllisters, all those guys, Jamal Lewises, they were going to be there. So this is the way you conduct yourself. And I just think the thing is, for me, it is being reported that the council, everybody, for now, I guess everybody has, as I started to lead the league, they had a players' council. Because the coaches wanted to have a pulse of the team. Because they really wanted to be a team. They want the players to be in control of the team. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's going to be very, very interesting, Skip. I'm going to listen over the next 3 to 4 days how many of the Ravens players come out in support of Earl Thomas. That's going to tell you everything you need to know. Now, this is what we know for 1,000% for certain. There are 2 player-friendly locker rooms that said, nah, we good, bro. That's all you need to know. Pete Carroll, the Seahawks run that locker room. The Baltimore Ravens, I've been in that locker room. The players, they let you do it. And they said, nah, we good. Something is going on that they said, we would rather be without you. Remember, Skip, the old saying is, we'll tolerate you until we can replace you.
That is
correct. And they
correct.
can only tolerate this man for 1 year.
Okay. So, as most people who watch the show know, I have campaigned for the Dallas Cowboys to sign Earl Thomas for 3 years. And I thought twice it was going to happen, and it did not happen. And I don't know exactly what went on behind the scenes, but at one point it looked like the Cowboys had him for a second-round choice. And then at the last second, according to multiple reports, Jerry Jones was apprised by John Schneider, who runs the Seahawks, no, it's going to be a 1 now. And Jerry said, oh, I thought we had a deal for 2. Sounds like Dak Prescott and his agent, rug jerked out from under Jerry, end of story. So I'm going to read now. We'll go back to what Jason Garrett, when he ran after Jason Garrett and said, come get me. And my question is, come get what? Because my leaning is against yours. I would still probably close my eyes and sign him, but I think this is trouble, and I don't think we have enough show for me to detail all the trouble that he caused, especially in Baltimore. Peter King wrote this morning, Earl Thomas was not well liked by his teammates. He had a pattern of being late, and in a recent practice, he had multiple assignment errors, causing defensive teammates to confront him about his preparedness. Not good.
Skip, and that was the Skip. He blew the assignment and got mad at the guy because he called him out.
He missed at least 1 walkthrough with no valid excuse. Sounds like AB in Oakland, right? When the incident at Friday's practice happened, very few, if any, teammates came to his defense. Teammates backed Clark, the significantly lesser name. That's Chuck Clark, who was a 6th-round draft choice out of Virginia Tech.
Yes.
What was it? 3 years ago.
2018, I think.
Yep. And he started 12 games last year, so he wasn't even a full-time starter last year, and teammates are backing him because on the play in question, Earl Thomas just decided on his own, I'm going to blitz. And all of a sudden, he gave up a deep touchdown wide open, and Chuck Clark took his helmet off because he was so frustrated with all of the missed assignments and threw it against the turf.
Right.
And here came Earl Thomas and punched him out.
Yes.
That was basically the end of Earl Thomas in Baltimore. So what did he say? Remember, the Ravens signed him, and I knew at that point the Cowboys couldn't even get in the Derby for him because he got $55 million. And it was 4 years, 55. That's $32 million was guaranteed at signing. Yikes.
He got 22 and he got 10 this year's salary.
Largest in the franchise history ever given to a non-quarterback. So nobody on defense and nobody else besides the quarterback on offense had ever gotten that kind of money.
And they got 3 Hall of Famers on that deal. Ray Lewis, Suggs, and Ed Reed.
Thank you.
Never got that.
Thank you. So during spring workouts with the Ravens the first time around, Thomas acknowledged that the Ravens' defense was complex compared to the one run in Seattle. And you know what Seattle did? They just ran cover 3 every play. Here we are.
Thank you.
Here we are because we're better than you.
Yes.
I got Sherm over here, and I got Cam over there. You know, I got it. Come get us.
Bobby, KJ,
right? I got it. And we're not going to do anything complex.
Right.
We're just going to beat you
Right.
because we're better than you.
Right.
So he's saying, I haven't really enjoyed playing this defense that much. Earl's just saying it, and I'm sure the Ravens are like, well, we've been doing this for a long time here, and we're really good at it.
Right.
So last year, there were all kinds of breakdowns. Even though Earl was voted to the Pro Bowl, was it somewhat on reputation? Probably. They allowed the third fewest points of any defense in football. So did he contribute to that? Sure he did.
Yes.
Were they 14-2, the best record in the NFL?
Yes.
Yes, they were. But there were all kinds of blunders within the 14-2
Yes.
that nobody liked.
Yes.
There was a Nick Chubb run that broke the game
Yes.
open against when Baltimore went in there and just shocked them.
Yes.
I mean, Cleveland went into Baltimore and
Yes.
shocked them. That was his breakdown. That was his man, and he wouldn't even chase him.
And you remember Kansas City. He didn't play the first Kansas City out there the year before.
No.
And he said, well, what happened? And he said, well, I wasn't
there.
And then Mahomes goes and throws for 400.
And they had
you were there.
503 total yards. And he said, well, they didn't have me patrolling the middle of the field.
Right.
Well, they did, and then it didn't work out.
Exactly.
And then there were all kinds of other incidents. He missed after the game he played at Seattle, which they won, so he was gloating about that. They had a bye week, and he just dropped out of sight and didn't make it to the team plane after the game because I guess he wanted to just go on his own and stay for a week in Seattle.
Yes.
Fine, but shouldn't you clear it through your head coach?
So you leave early and come back late.
Okay. And then there was the incident that I don't want to get too deep into with his wife, who went to the rental house with a loaded gun and put it to his head because she was accusing him of cheating on her at their rental house. I think it was in Austin.
Right.
And, and he did not apprise the Ravens of that until it hit the social media.
His pattern of behavior, like I said, conduct detrimental, because they got documentations of all of this.
Yep.
Because in order for you, and people are like, well, they didn't suspend him. I'm sure he's been fined heavily, because when you late, you miss, they find you.
Right.
It's a documentation that's leading up to this. This was the straw that broke the camel's back.
I agree.
But there were a lot of straws that were accumulated that was placed on this camel to where he couldn't bear it anymore.
I agree.
And they were like...
And finally, he posted the practice video of the broken play in question in which he blitzed.
Yeah.
He posted it briefly, then deleted it, which is against team rules. He got a hold of their internal practice video and posted it on social to defend himself. It's a broken rule. Just one more.
Yeah. And it tells you everything you need to know why they needed to move on.
Okay.
That's the very reason. Because, see, Earl doesn't think rules are applicable to him. A lot of times, Skip, when you go somewhere and you as accomplished as he is, he is an all-pro, he's won a Super Bowl, you come in and his communication skills are not great. Like you said, well, there's not a whole lot of talking need to be had. You line up in single high safety, robber coverage. You just line up in Skip and we gonna play football.
And it sounds like he was just freelancing.
Yes.
In the Baltimore defense.
Skip.
I think I'll blitz this play.
Skip, you can freelance. And sometimes you can make play. Look, the greatest freelance of all time was Ed Reed. But if Ed got out of position and they got to play, you're like, my bad. I thought I saw this. I didn't see it. He would own up to it. If you freelance, you get out of position, you give up plays, and you don't own up to it, eventually, Skip, they're going to like, man, this is some bull jive, coach. He doing his own thing out here and got us all looking bad, and he won't own up to it. They had, Skip.
Okay.
That counsel.
I got it. I still say, if you could bring Earl back to his home state, he grew up a Cowboy fan in South Texas.
Yes.
If you brought him back to Dallas and his ego was on the line, his reputation was on the line, to show people he's not that guy that he got portrayed as being in Baltimore.
Well, what about Seattle?
Okay, or Seattle. I got it. But if you became the missing piece to the defensive puzzle because you were on the hot seat, you got to produce, but you came in for a Cam Newton-style contract in New England, where it's like $1 million base and some incentives. By the way, they just redid Ty Smith's contract yet again, saving about $7 million against the cap, but it was earmarked for Dak, maybe into next year. So I don't know. Would they try it? I would probably close my eyes and try it, but every point you made, all the signs are bad, 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 bad. I got it.
But as we get older and you play defense, you can't freelance as much because you don't have the athleticism to recover. That's the thing. Rod Woodson, one of my good friends, Rod played 17 years, but he knew how to get himself in position. But as you get older, Skip, all that freelancing, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to disguise it, you can't do it. Your athletic skills start to diminish, and you get exposed.
No mercy.
The Clippers jumped out to a 21-point first-half lead yesterday against the Mavericks, only to see it slowly slip away. Dallas went on a 16-point run in the third quarter to take the lead, and L.A. had to fight back to force overtime. A Marcus Morris three-pointer gave the Clippers a 1-point lead with under 10 seconds remaining, but Luka Dončić responded with a step-back three at the buzzer to take the win and even the series at 2 games each. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard with us now. Chris, good morning. What was the biggest reason the Clippers lost this one?
Wow. Well, look, I think Doc Rivers was correct at the end after the game when he said his team was emotionally weak. They said they're not an emotionally weak team, but yesterday they were emotionally weak. One, I thought he was very correct on that. And two, I'm glad he called these guys out because I said last week, they're nonchalant. We can show up when we have to, turn it up when we have to. That type of attitude that I think they've had all year is catching up with them, and they need to get rid of it if they want to win a championship and probably even if they want to win this series, which I'm still confident they will. But the reason that they lost, you can point to the last play all you want. It wouldn't have even come down to a last play if Paul George had shown up. Playoff P was playoff Pee-wee. And that's the problem with the Clippers right now, is that Paul George is not delivering. 9 points, 3 for 14 shooting, and for long stretches of the game, he was like looking like a role player, like he wasn't even on the floor. He's standing at the three-point line, waiting for somebody to pass him the ball, or he gets it and he gets rid of it quickly. And over the last 3 games, Paul George has averaged 11 points on 21% shooting, 16% shooting from 3. I mean, his numbers are so bad, it's hard to believe that they're actually true. And it is reminding me of what he's obviously been worse than Anthony Davis, but it's similar to the Lakers situation with Anthony Davis. You know what the first guy is going to give you. I know Kawhi is going to play well. I know LeBron is going to play well. You know, he struggled game 2, but they won easily. But what is the second guy? What is Anthony Davis or what is Paul George going to give me? Is the moment going to get to them? And that's the big question mark with both of these teams. And for the Clippers, for them to win the championship, and again, maybe even this series, Paul George has got to be better. So I was told actually yesterday, too, that Doc had words with Paul and wanted him to stay aggressive and, shoot the ball. And Paul was like, well, I'm off. I'm not just going to keep missing. I think that had a part to do with Doc's comment about being emotionally weak. Like, if you don't have it going, you still have to play through it and try to score and do what you do. And so I think Paul George, as he even said, if I hit shots, we win the game. It's a different series, and he's absolutely right.
Okay, so I get all Paul George out there. So what you're going to do about this, about the Mavs shooting 50% from the floor and 36% from the three-point line? When are they going to start that Soul Train line that Luka and all those players have going to the basket? Who's going to do something about that? Because Paul George can't stop Luka. Kawhi can't stop Luka. Marcus Morris. Steph Curry is looking like Steph Curry. Trey Burke, Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway Jr. can get to the rim at will against whomever is standing in front of them. So we can talk about Paul George, and he has not played well. But who's guarding anybody, Chris? I want to know, just tell me that. When is Kawhi going?
I'm with you, and I love Luka. Like I think Luka is the new Larry Bird, and maybe even could end up better than Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You know, down
Just
the line,
stop it. It's
this
such blasphemy.
dude is
Just stop it.
phenomenal.
We're going to get struck by lightning. The new
anyway,
Larry Bird?
Oh, he's
What?
definitely the new Larry Bird. He's
Chris,
definitely the new Larry Bird.
During the regular season, Luka Dončić ranked 140th out of 147 NBA three-point shooters. He shot 31% for the whole regular season, and yesterday he shot 3 air balls from 3. Don't start with Larry Bird because this guy can't shoot a lick. This guy has missed the most free throws of anybody playing in the playoffs so far. Luka has missed the most. He's missed 13 free throws because during the year he was a little better than LeBron, but he's a 75% free throw shooter, and he wanted no part of that line at the end of that game because he's not very good from it. So, I'm going to address what Chris said first. Doc called them mentally weak. Well, they were mentally weak when, remember, they gave up in the middle of that game a 73-40 run. Think about that. They lost the middle of the game by 34 points to the Dallas Mavericks without Porzingis. That is horrendously bad. That is shamefully, you don't even belong in this series bad. And yet, to their credit, they did not quit. They scratched and clawed right back into the game. They took it up a level on defense for the last 3 minutes of regulation. Go back. I dare anybody. Go look at the play-by-play for the last 3 minutes because the Dallas Mavericks wound up with 2 free throws and lost it down the stretch 10-2 to the Clippers. And it came down to Kawhi, ball in his hands. I've always told Shannon I don't love him as a last shot taker and maker, but they have no creativity on offense. They don't go pick for him. He gets doubled every offensive possession, and he was getting sort of shadow doubled on this play, and he dribbles and dribbles like, I don't know what to do. Just attack. Try to get between the 2 defenders. Try to go up and shoot a mid-range jumper, which is your bread and butter. Instead, he lets the clock run down like, I don't know what to do, and he backs up and shoots a 3, which is not his forte, and missed it to win the game. Now, let's get to the last shot, shall we? It's a 1,000,000-to-1 shot that guy would make that shot. And remember, Chris, you can say, if playoff P hadn't been playoff, as you say, pee-wee, or I could put a couple of E's on the P, and we could talk about that. But the point is, it did come to the last shot, and it was make it or break it. It was sink or swim. You're either going to be 2-2 or you're going to be down 3-1. The ball has to go through the hoop for you to be 2-2. That's the guy who shot 31% during the regular season. That's the guy who in the last 2 minutes of regulation and overtime, with the game close during the regular season, was 0 for 10 on those kind of shots. His team was 0 for 18 on those kind of shots. Dallas was the worst closing team in all of basketball, and all of a sudden, I'm thinking, Kawhi, you did a good job on him down the stretch of regulation. You better take him as they're inbounding with 3.7 seconds left because something's going to have to happen fast. And what did Kawhi Leonard do? He's face-to-face with him to start the play, and then wait a second, here comes Kleba to pick. I hate it that the Clippers keep saying, we're too good to fight over picks. We switch everything because we have 5 interchangeable cogs. No, you don't. Playoff P is a basket case. He guards nobody anymore. He's lost it on both ends of the floor. I'm thinking, what is Reggie Jackson doing in the basketball game down the stretch and on the last play? He's 6 feet 3 inches tall, and he guards nobody. He ranked 235th during the regular season in defensive win shares. And he's in the game, and you're willing to quickly switch him onto Luka? Why? Why wouldn't Kawhi say, for once, I'm going to fight over the pick? Because he could fight over that pick.
Sure, of course.
You got to fight. This is the game. The series is on the line. Kawhi's got to say, I got him. We're not switching anymore. I'm coming. If Kleba comes or whoever comes for me, I'm fighting through, and I'm going to get up in his face, and the long arm of the claw is going to be on Luka. Instead, it winds up 6'3" Reggie Jackson, who never was accused of being a defender in the first place, guarding Luka, quote unquote, and Luka knows, oh, I can step back and shoot over the little man, and he did, and look what he found. He finally made one. Congratulations to you both.
Well, first of all, let me say this. This is a case, and I think Shannon might back me up. This is a case where numbers lie. Luka Dončić can shoot the basketball. Now, I know his shooting percentage isn't great from three-point, but anyone that says he can't shoot isn't watching. The dude can shoot.
In the lane.
He showed it last night. He showed it last night. He'll get better from three, but he's a legit shooter. His form and everything is fine. But I agree with you. Now, Doc Rivers said after the game, Skip, that the play called for, they wanted Reggie to switch, which I don't know why.
Why?
But he said they wanted Reggie to switch on to Luka and deny him. He said the plan was to deny him the basketball, which makes some sense if you deny him. But he didn't deny him because he's going to get the ball. He probably would have posted him at outside on the perimeter and thrown it over the top.
Chris.
But that would have ate up a lot of time.
Time out. There's another guy, Reggie's size. There's a guy named Landry Shamet who was in the game. He's 6'4" to Reggie's 6'3". Landry Shamet will get all up in you. He's got dog in him as a defender. Let him be the guy who's going to switch onto Luka because he will contest much harder than Reggie contested.
I'm not sure they weren't, I don't know if Dallas was targeting Reggie Jackson. Now, to your point, he shouldn't have been in the game. But Dallas may have been saying whoever Reggie is guarding, he's going to be the screener. But I also agree. I don't know why Doc wouldn't have said, Kawhi, fight over the pick.
Just go.
Because Luka waded out by almost near half court to get the pass.
He did.
So you had time to get for Reggie to show on the pick, and Kawhi could have got out on him. So I'm with you. But Doc said they called for the switch. He was just supposed to deny him. So I could put that on Doc Rivers.
You know what? If there was 1 second on the clock, maybe. But 3.7 is a very long time because he gets an opportunity. He can dribble the ball, a couple of dribbles between his legs, create separation. But this notion that Landry Shamet is a much better defender than Reggie Jackson is not true.
Oh, it's very true.
Because all they did the entire game was put him and Reggie Jackson in the pick and roll. They get them with Luka. Listen, they have no answer for Luka. He did this on a bum ankle and minus Porzingis. Had Kane Fitzgerald, the official, not intervened in game one, we might be looking at 3-1 Chris Broussard, and you know this.
There is an answer for Luka. It's called double team him, trap him at half court, make him give up the basketball.
Chris.
But we're too good for that. We're too proud. We're too good on defense.
Chris, hold on, Chris. Chris, I want to know, what good is having the two best wing defenders if you got to double someone? It's like an 8-year-old.
That's what they're saying.
It's like having an 8-year-old with a trust fund. What good is that? He can't get the money until he's 21. If you got two great wing defenders, why the hell you got a double team?
Look, they can't stay in front of Luka. And they can't stay in front of Trey Burke
or Tim Hardaway or Seth Curry.
Kawhi Leonard, while he played at times good defense on Luka,
he ain't the same.
No, he's not. Because he's never been called on except to score like he has the last 2 years. So in San Antonio, where he wasn't called on to be as much of an offensive player, he obviously was great defensively. Now, he's still okay defensively, but he's not what he was.
Go check it out. Down the stretch of regulation, he took Luka and he took him out of the lane.
Well, Chris, go back and check the last three possessions of overtime. Go check, Chris. They got buckets. And last I checked,
Reggie
PG
Jackson
and Kawhi was on the court.
Well, wait a second. Somebody predicted this was going to go 7, and 2 other people I know said it would be over in 5. So what do you got now?
At this point, I just want to win. Win the series. I don't care how many games.
Well, you brought up a good point, Chris, that Doc called them out, so we'll see how they respond moving forward.
No mercy.
How about we talk about LeBron, guys? He led the Lakers in multiple categories over the weekend on the way to an 8-point win and 2-1 series lead against the Blazers. LeBron had a game-high 38 points to go along with 12 rebounds and 8 assists in the win. Chris Broussard still with us. Chris, I start with you. How impressive was LeBron James?
Look, I know Skip's going to harp on the 5 missed free throws, the 8 turnovers, but LeBron was great. All right, I give him like an A-. He had this game, even though the first game one when he had the 23, 17, 16, first time that's ever been done, that may have been more impressive statistically, but this was a far better game. And what I liked about it from LeBron, and you guys know I was saying this all last week, he was aggressive as a scorer. I thought he read the game much better. So instead of coming out and just getting everybody involved, even if they're not doing anything, he saw that Anthony Davis not giving me anything. All right, Anthony Davis, 6 points in the first half. So LeBron took over himself, 22 points in the first half. Finally, Anthony Davis wakes up in the second half and gives LeBron some help. And then LeBron closes the game out at the end with 7 points in the last 3 minutes. He had his 3-ball going. He was at the rim all night, which I love. He's got to stay at the rim. And he didn't get much help. You know, he got a little bit of help from the supporting cast outside of AD. But the bench, I think, hit 1 3-pointer as total. But because he was so aggressive offensively, they didn't need the bench to do as much. So I thought LeBron was great. This is just what the doctor ordered for them to close the Blazers out in short order.
Well, had AD made his free throws, I mean, the thing is that he was getting fouled. If he had made his free throws in the first half, it would have looked a lot differently. He had 11 or 12 points instead of the 5 points. But the thing is that what we're seeing is that LeBron James and AD are getting the are getting the Blazers in foul trouble. Melo again had 5, Nurkic 5, Trent Jr. 4, Whiteside 3. And so because they can't stop LeBron from going to the basket without fouling him, now they're in foul trouble. And Nurkic, he can't, you're asking a man 7 foot tall, 300 pounds, that's just been back about 2 months to try to play 35, 40 minutes. That's impossible. Whiteside can't play the amount of minutes that they need them on the court. You got Dame that's been playing 42, 43, 44 minutes over the last 3 weeks, along with CJ. They had Melo out there for 43 minutes. I don't care. That's unsustainable. And if you look at down the stretch, a lot of Dame jumpers, they were hitting the front of the rim. Tells me his legs are getting weary, playing the amount of minutes. But when you got LeBron being in aggressive mode, like he was, says, I'm going to the basket. Gary Trent Jr., you're going to foul me. Melo, you're going to foul me, and you're going to put me on the free throw line. I agree with you. I would like to see him shoot a higher percentage, but that's okay. And AD, when AD leaves his dressing room, he needs to go back and look at the mirror and says, you know what? I'm a generational talent. I'm about to murk everybody that guards me, be it Melo, be it Nurkic, be it Whiteside, be it Gabriel. It does not matter. You can't see me tonight. AD got in the second half and said, you know what? Let me put this ball in the rack. Oh, you missed it. I get it. Dunk at home and 1. Dunk on Nurkic and 1. And then something happened on the way. That old mid-range. You know, he the master of the mid-range. Old mid-range AD. Started letting them have it, Skip. That's a thing of beauty, wasn't it, Skip? That was a thing of beauty, wasn't it, Skip? And LeBron hit that 3 and held it up there. It ran down court and shook his head, Chris. He said, no, it ain't your day today. It ain't your day today, Skip Bayless. It's not your day.
My turn. I am not impressed with one thing that LeBron James nor Anthony Davis do against the Portland Trail Blazers. I want everybody to notice what just happened over on the eastern side of the bracket. The Toronto Raptors just destroyed the Brooklyn Nets 4 straight games by an average of 21 points a game. That was the same Brooklyn team that took Portland to the wire, and Karis LeVert had a shot on C.J. McCollum to win the game. And fortunately for Portland, it didn't go in, because if it had gone in, they would have been out of the playoffs where they belonged. They came to the bubble 29-37. They are now 35-39. I predicted from day one this would be an easy sweep for the Lakers, and it should have been. It was shameful. LeBron had the basketball in his hands, 6 points up with 7 minutes to go in game 1, and upchucked it. There's no reason for that. The Trailblazers have come as far as they can come, and they are basically dead in the water, because I keep waiting for this. I don't know what happened to Dame time. I keep hearing he's special.
Yeah.
Special what? Special K for breakfast? I don't know, because LeBron just has this for breakfast. In the fourth quarter, I couldn't tell. He went 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter, did Damian Lillard 0 for 4 from 3, and one of them hit the backboard without touching the rim. I'm thinking, wait a second, where's Dame time? Where is this? Because I'm looking at the 3 fourth quarters against the Lakers so far. He's shooting 31% from 31% and a big 33% from 3. I told you last year against Golden State, 4 straight fourth quarters with no KD. He shot 31% from the field and 29 from 3. And I kept saying, well, this is your opportunity. Show me. Come, just bring it. One night, take over a game the way I've just watched Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray. They take over every game they play against each other. They're the real Damian Lillards. If you want Dame time, watch those two play. Because that's some clutch distance shooting by those two young men.
Your expectations for them are just low. If you're going to sit here and say Jamal Murray is as good as Damian Lillard?
I am. I see it every night on the big stage, on the playoff stage. Chris, have you been watching those two kids?
Yes.
They're 1-2 in fourth quarter scoring. They're unbelievable from distance. They got mid-range. They can attack the rim. They got the whole package. And I keep waiting. Show me clutch, Damian Lillard. I just keep waiting for one time. Show me where you took over a game the way Donovan took over last night or Jamal took over in a previous game. They just take it home all the way through overtime.
Jamal Murray isn't the focal point of that offense.
Well, he is down the stretch.
The opponent's defense. Jokic is the focal point, and Jokic is the passer.
Chris, have you been watching these games?
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. These two kids are putting on shows where I'm just saying, that is extraordinary, both of them.
Skip, he has been great. Jamal Murray, and you notice I haven't said anything about Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell has been special. And so is Murray, but you're going to react to 2 games from Murray or a few games from Jamal Murray when you wouldn't give Dame any props for when he averaged 51 and 9 over the last 3 games of the bubble.
Chris, I saw Jamal do it against my Spurs last year in Game 7. He just took over the fourth quarter and made the shot of shots to win the game.
Your Spurs were terrible.
Okay, but so are the Portland Trailblazers, who are dangerously dependent upon 2 3-point shooters. That's what you got.
That's their offense.
Okay, that's it.
That's their offense, though.
Okay? Show me, take it over, just shoot up a storm. Shoot the lights out one night.
He's overmatched in this series.
So let me
overmatched? I thought he was a superstar.
Chris, I just want to know one thing. I just want to know the 2 players that Jamal Murray is facing on the Nuggets and Donovan Mitchell is facing on Jamal Murray is facing on Utah and vice versa. Mitchell facing on the Nuggets. That's better than AD and LeBron. Which 2 players?
Okay, but they're just going head-to-head, just shooting the lights out every night. If you sit back and watch it, you say, why didn't Damian Lillard ever do that?
I've seen him do it.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm not saying that. That thought never crossed my mind.
Well, it crossed mine the last 2 nights that I watched them all the way home.
I watched him score.
Look, Murray is good. I like him, but you've just gone out of bounds to say he's better
I'm in bounds. I'm saying show me something. Chris, again, how can you defend 31% from the floor in 3 fourth quarters against the Lakers? That's pathetic.
Skip, there's more
I thought
to the game
that's
than
not
fourth
superstar.
Quarter. Hold on, there's more to the game. Skip, there's more to the game than just the fourth quarter. Had he not been so spectacular, they're blown out in the beginning to begin with. If LeBron James and AD don't shoot as bad as they did from the free throw line, the Lakers as a team, this is a 20-point game.
They are not only the worst defensive team in the bubble, they might be the worst defensive team in all of basketball. Yes. They are terrible. The Lakers should score 140 a game. And what was the score of the first game? They scored, what, 93?
93.
What?
Well, Skip, because they don't really shoot the 3 ball from the outside well. You're absolutely right. And what the Blazers try to do, they try to outscore you. Their defense is their offense. We won a game in the 130s and 140s, and we feel with our backcourt, with a little help from Melo, we're going to be okay. But Nurkic hasn't given them that 20-20 ball game. Whiteside, outside of the first game, hasn't been as effective as he was in the first ball game. So you're asking, basically, Dame and CJ needs to somehow get to 70 in order for them to win this series.
And LeBron, as you pointed out, had the audacity late in this game, seconds left.
No.
He makes another three because he's got a rare hot hand from three. If we could see this, he makes the three, and he has the audacity to backpedal up the floor and mean mug the Portland Trailblazers.
Hit it with
Take that, Trailblazers. I got you.
That in playoff mode.
Look at this. That put the Lakers up 14 on the sorry Trailblazers. It's a mean mug. Save it at least for the next round in a real team.
We got
please.
plenty of that.
Please.
We got plenty of that.
God.
What we saving it for?
Stop it.
Chris, that's like
Lord
Jeff Bezos said. Jeff Bezos, you need to save some of that money. He's like, I got plenty of money. That's what I'm saving it for. LeBron said, I got plenty of these jumpers. Plenty of these threes. What I'm saving them for? I got
Save them for the Rockets.
Much as I'm enjoying this, I am breaking it up right now.
No mercy.
Yesterday, during warm-ups for Game 4, Clippers forward Montrezl Harrell apologized to Luka Dončić after cameras caught Harrell calling Luka a, quote, bleep, bleep, white boy in Game 3. Luka told reporters, quote, sometimes you say things you don't want to say. He apologized. I respect that, so no problems. Chris, I'd like to start with you. Should Montrez have been fined or suspended here?
I think he should have been fined. I don't think he should have been suspended, but I definitely think he should have been fined. I didn't like what he said at all. I'm glad he apologized to Luka. He understood that what he did was wrong, and that's why I think it shows it also deserved a fine. And I'm glad that if you saw the interaction, it was more than a, hey, man, I'm sorry, my bad. Or, like it looked like he really came from the heart and made sure Luka understood, I don't dislike you because you're white. I didn't mean anything by it, whatever the case. Let me try to unpack this. We, in our society, because of the racial history of our country and the power dynamics of our country, we allow blacks and even whites to say things about white people that we would not allow in the reverse. We wouldn't allow whites to say about blacks. For instance, the movie White Men Can't Jump. We would never have a movie because like black men can't skate or black men can't pitch or anything like that. If you look at black comedians, almost every black comedian I've ever seen has a routine where they talk about white people and the way white people talk, the way they walk, the way they dance, whatever it may be. We would not allow a white comedian to do that about black people. Even when on Friday I was watching a guy's show when Michael Rappaport, who obviously is white, was on the show, and he called Alex Caruso a pizza delivery guy, right? And it was funny. I was laughing just like everybody else. It was hilarious. But let's be honest. There was racial undertone to that because Alex is white and he's balding and, he doesn't look like your average black basketball player. And we wouldn't allow that to be said about a black player. I'm saying this because it's almost like we have this unwritten rule that we allow it because, look, it is what it is. There's an understanding that black people do not have the power to act on any prejudice they may have on the grand scheme. White people have acted on the power, on their prejudice, and it was terrible and still happens today, and they still have the power to do it today. That's why there's kind of this double standard. So I said all of that to say that what Montrez said was wrong, but it would have been worse had a white player called a black player the N-word, or even maybe said black boy or something like that. So I'm just trying to give context because I think it's important. While Montrez, what he said was wrong, it wasn't as bad as had a white player said it because of the context of this country. A white player would have been suspended. It would have been a huge story. As a black player, I think Montrez should have just got fined. Two things. One, it took away the credibility or some credibility from the Black Lives Matter protests that the league is all in on. There are already people saying that they lack credibility because no one spoke out against China. Everybody, Greg Popovich, LeBron James, Steve Kerr, all the strongest voices about race went soft and quiet when it came to China. So that's already taken away some of the credibility. But when this happens, it takes away a little more or gives those that want to dismiss or be upset with the Black Lives Matter protest, it gives them ammunition to say, oh, it's not legitimate or whatever. Secondly, there are a lot of white players, all the white players are wearing Black Lives Matter shirts. They're wearing, some of them like Kyle Korver, Black Lives Matter on the back of his jersey. Most of them are kneeling. We saw Miles Leonard stand for the national anthem. But these guys are supporting this movement as they should. But you wonder, how does it make them feel when they hear Montrezl come out like this? Now, I know they've been called white boy maybe every week since they've been in the NBA. But it's mostly in lighthearted ways of, oh, the white boy, you want a ball? Or, oh, you can jump for a white boy, like lighthearted stuff. Right. When Montrezl said it, it was mean-spirited. And that's why I think it deserved a fine, and he was right to apologize. But I don't think it would have deserved the suspension that a white guy would have got for using, say, the N-word. Skip, if I'm not mistaken, you remember World War III like to happen. You remember when Dennis Rodman said, if Larry Bird was black, he'd just be a guy? Mm-hmm. And Isaiah Thomas co-signed it and chuckled. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Thomas, during the NBA Finals, had to go up on a press conference and sit next to Larry Bird. Mm-hmm. That's what they made him do.
Okay.
They suspended Draymond for calling Kevin Durant a B-word on his own team.
They did.
No,
remember, Draymond also went up the court and kicked him in the groin.
No, I'm saying he KD.
Oh, KD.
Remember,
I thought you meant Draymond on
LeBron.
LeBron, yes.
State. But you remember mm-hmm. some derogatory terms that players have made in the past about homophobic slurs about the gay community. Mm-hmm. They've been fined. Rondo was suspended a game because what he said to Bill Kennedy, who was an official. Skip, I don't want to make too much of a deal about this, but I'm just saying we need to be careful saying that someone said something in the heat of the battle and excusing it. That's all I'm saying. I don't believe Trez is racist. I do not believe that. I believe he said something in the heat of the moment. He was wrong. Give him a fine. The NBA says this is not what we're about. The NBA is all-encompassing. White boys, Asian, whomever. We're all-encompassing. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to get too deep into it, this and that. But I believe Trez should have been fined because he said what he said was wrong. Maybe not so much the white boy, but then he prefaced it by saying to be a white boy. Mm-hmm. White boy, man, boy, you hooping for a white boy. We've all said it had to see a white guy at the court.
Absolutely.
White boy, dude got up, dude can run. Man, Christian McCaffrey can run for a white boy. But when you talk about, soft and beat, nah. He wrong and he should have been fined.
Okay, I'm going to speak as a white boy. I am not at all offended by being called a white boy. I've been called it in the sports context many times, all the way up the ladder. Baseball, basketball, but it's always in the context, as you just pointed out. White boy can hit. It's okay. It's fine. It's a racial identification. It's not a racist slur. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there is no equivalent in our language of the N-word that a black player could use or a black person could use against a white person. Mm-hmm. There's no reverse word that's nearly as evil as that word. So
even the George Jefferson word he used to refer to Tom, he called him the H word and something like that. But that's not even close.
Not even close. And if we reverse the scenario and you say that a white player would refer to a black player as black boy, I got a huge problem because it's from the slavery days of slave master referring to male slaves as boy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely out of bounds. You're going to get swung on. It cannot happen. But white boy in popular culture, we just had a movie come out, White Boy Rick, and I can go back to my days of classic rock and roll. Foreigner had a song back in the late 70s called Dirty White Boy, which was actually an ode to Elvis Presley leading to Mick Jagger. Dirty White Boys. You can do that one. Okay, you can do that one.
Remember that.
So again, what I would have been offended by, and I'm going to say it one time just so everybody gets the impact of this, bitch-ass white boy, you got a problem. Then maybe I'm going to swing on you if you're going to call me that. But what was the context for that? The truth was, Luka actually started the row here because Luka tripped up Montrezl, and as Montrezl fell, Luka looked over his shoulder and said, quit flopping. and he said something, maybe man. Doc said that he swore at Montrezl. What do we know about Montrezl Harrell? He is a beast on the basketball floor. What does he pride himself most on? His manhood, his emotion. He plays as hard as anybody plays the game. Well, if you're going to accuse that guy of flopping and you're going to throw in any profanity to exaggerate it, like quit effing flopping or quit flopping MF, you're going to have a big problem with Montrezl because you are questioning his manhood. I love Luka because he's turned into one of the best trash talkers in the game, a la Larry Bird. That's the only Bird comparison I will give either of you because he is not afraid of the Black Stars. He'll trash talk with anybody, black or white. So he gave him a little trash talk, and then Montrezl came and just crashed it in on him and scored on him and went up the court saying, basically, take that, B.A. white boy.
Right.
Okay? He's over-emotional. He plays that way. I don't have a huge problem with it. If you guys, if you want to say the NBA should have at least issued a statement in these very sensitive racial times, you got me. But again, as a white boy, I'm not offended enough by that to say, oh, fine him or suspend him. I'm good with it.
Skip, Dennis Rodman was tough, but he flopped a bunch.
Okay.
It's simple. I mean, two things can be true. They don't have to be so exclusive that not to go hand in hand. Dennis Rodman was tough, but Dennis Rodman flopped a lot. And so I'm starting to see your guy Kawhi flop a lot. Every time somebody gets, I'm like, come on, dude.
Flops. A lot of dudes flop.
Luka was known as soft coming into this league.
Yes.
Go after him physically, rough him up, knock him out of his game psychologically. And by the way, he whines to the refs almost every play. So Montrezl just got his fill of it and said, take that, B.A. white boy. So I get it, and I don't have a huge problem. I don't have a fine or suspension problem with this.
Well, I just think in the context that we're in, and as Shannon said, I mean, you guys, anybody that grew up in sports with blacks and whites playing, as you said, white boy is used all the time, all right? But it's not used necessarily in that mean-spirited context that Montrezl did, and with what the NBA has going on with the Black Lives Matter protest, if you don't deal with what Montrezl did, it makes it look almost like you just think you want to do what's right for blacks, but you're not not concerned about doing right for other people. And that's where people can use it. People that are against the movement will use it to say, oh, it's not justified. It's,
that's fair.
You know, so I think it should have been a fine, but not too big of a deal.
Well, Chris Broussard, always a pleasure to have you on Undisputed. Great stuff today.
No mercy.
Damian Lillard led his team with 34 points in Game 3, but couldn't get the win for Portland, who now finds themselves down 2-1 to the Lakers. Dame had 7 points in the fourth quarter, but was 1 for 6 from the floor and missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts. And after the game, he said it just wasn't the Blazers' night to make shots. So, Shannon, what happened to Dame time?
Well, Dame was Dame. Skip, I think the thing is that as you become a more elevated player in this league, the expectations greatly increase. And because Dame has thrust himself into the superstar stratosphere, there's more expected of him. And when things don't go well, he knows. When things didn't go well with the Bulls, they lost, they go to Mike, what happened? When the Celtics, it was Bird. The Magic, it's the same thing. And so that's where Dame is now, Skip. When they don't win, they're going to ask Dame, what happened? Dame, what, you know, even though he might score 40, if he didn't get those, if he doesn't score 12, 15 points in the fourth quarter, people are asking the questions, well, Dame, what happened to you? Well, he had 27 through 3 quarters, which kept them in the ball game. Because just when you thought, Lakers about to get a surge here come Dame hitting timely threes, off-balance threes, and he's still trying to be aggressive. Skip, for Dame Lillard to be 6'1", and to say, you know what, I'm going to turn the corner, and I'm going down, and I'm going to flush, and I'm going to get my bench involved in this ball game, lets you know his mindset, like he is not afraid of Jack. For him to even think he could even do it, let alone attempt it, to even the thought process. And had Anthony Davis not been AD who he is, that could have turned the game around and got the Blazers back into this ball game and really gave them the surge that they needed. But Dame is fine. I don't worry about Dame. Dame Lillard is going to do Dame Lillard.
You don't worry about him because you're a Laker fan.
No. Dame is going to get you 35. But CJ got off good. And CJ cooled in the middle. They need to go simultaneous. They're gonna need to be somewhere, Skip, around probably 65, 70 points between the two of them to beat the Lakers.
So I need to reset my watch because now you're explaining to me that Dame time is actually first through third quarter time.
Dame time is all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a stopwatch. Just keep running. Just keep going.
Well, while LeBron was mean mugging him, I got you, Dame. Dame was going 1 for 6 and 0 for 4 from 3. And I'm like, I don't know. I just need to see Dame time. I just show me one where you just say, I got this. I take over this game.
You saw it in game 1 when he was getting done with it. He was back there dancing.
Yeah, he made 3 threes in the middle of the quarter.
Okay.
And then he didn't take it home because, remember, Melo and Gary Trent Jr. took it home with the 2 biggest threes that closed the door on your Lakers, who were up 6 with 7 minutes left. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's not LeBron time. I don't know whose time it is.
It's always.
But I keep waiting. I keep telling everybody, last year against no KD Golden State, 4 straight fourth quarters, he had all kinds of opportunities to take the game over against Steph and Clay. It's a 50-50. I got CJ. I'm a superstar. And CJ can be a superstar every once in a while for stretches. And he shot 29% from 3 in those 4 fourth quarters and in overtime, and 31% from the field. And he's doing it again against your Lakers. 31% from the floor, 33% so far from 3. But maybe tonight's the night. Maybe the next night will be the night. He's got 2 more opportunities to show me Dame time. Come up big. You say he's special. Yeah. I haven't seen special in fourth quarters.
Yeah. But you see special throughout the entirety of the game. Skip, we got to see, you pinpoint it, and then when he comes up big in the fourth quarter, you say, well, he should have come up big because he didn't do anything in the first 3 quarters, and he was the reason they were in the hole in the fourth quarter. So I'm just trying to figure out, I'm just trying to
find out when Dame time is.
You know what Dame time is.
It's not in the fourth quarter.
Yes, it is. It's always his time.
Really?
He's the reason why the games are even close. Without Dame going bonkers in the first half, these games would be over at halftime. Like your team got out the 21-point lead, and what happened? Without Porzingis. So where's Kawhi? When is Kawhi's time?
I'm just waiting for Dame time.
It's Dame time all the time.
I'm waiting for him to wave bye to the Lakers, and maybe he could. You could even it up tonight.
It's the 8th seed.
Okay.
Really?
Well, you told me it's the most dangerous 8th seed in the history of the playoffs.
It's still an 8th seed.
Oh.
That's still what they are.
Okay.
Okay, I get that. Yes, they're dangerous. We don't normally see 8 seeds that have this kind of firepower, especially, you got to go back to Jordan, his rookie year, when the 1-8 matchup was Bird, the Celtics versus the Bulls, to find somebody that had a player with this kind of firepower on their roster. It doesn't happen.
So Damian Lillard went a stretch of the equivalent of 2 straight fourth quarters over the games against Brooklyn, then Memphis, and game 1 against the Lakers without scoring a single basket. And I'm saying, is that a superstar? It's a star, but you put a big old caps SUPER in front of his name.
First of all, let me ask you a question. If I make 26 free throws, do I not get 26 points? So free throws are points, right?
Sure.
So although he's not making 5, 6, 7 field goals, he's going to the line making 6, 7 points through the free throw line, because you say those are free. And so that if he's capitalizing on those are points, right? Okay.
You should be very happy you're playing Damian Lillard. That's what you should be happy
Why
about.
am I happy?
Because it's not been Dame time.
He's had his moments. I feel like we have to acknowledge that. Game 4 tonight, we'll see if Dame can tie it up.
No mercy.
Well, after blowing a fourth quarter lead and dropping game 1, LeBron has now led the Lakers to 2 straight wins, taking the series lead 2-1, heading into tonight's game 4. And according to Fox Bet, the Lakers are, guys, 7.5-point favorites. So, Shannon, who wins? And tell me the score.
Oh, Fox Bet got it. Well, I'm going Fox Bet. I like Fox Bet, too, so I'm going to go 8 points.
Are you?
Yeah,
Really?
we're going to get about 8.
8?
8 points.
That's all?
Because
I thought he was the GOAT.
Because we're gonna be ahead, and we're gonna put our backups in, so then they'll make it interesting, kind of like they did, like game 2, like they did game 2. But we got this one.
I got cakewalk. I got wipeout. I got mismatch. I got the Lakers. They should have swept this. They're going to sweep this game tonight. They're going to win this by 15, 120-105. LeBron, triple-double. AD will come close to a triple-double. They're going to go 25-plus and 10-plus together as teammates once again back-to-back because Portland is terrible.
Well, first of all, I don't even know about Trip Dub because LeBron snuck in. She in quarantine, and now she out there visiting Luka, so she can't come back.
She got to come early because they're going to let family in round two.
But Luka,
and they said,
Luka, she been at Luka place.
Really?
So, but we good.
Really?
I'm thinking AD and LeBron are combined for like 65, probably about 17 rebound, probably about
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay. LeBron will be another virtuoso.
Easy. This is going to be. This should have been a sweep, and you called it 6 games. And I can't wait to hear you pick another loss for your Lakers because we got to have one, right? Next game.
All I need is
LeBron
to do what LeBron does.
Huh?
AD, watch what AD does tonight.
Well,
watch what AD
I don't
does
need
tonight.
To watch.
Will
AD
Dub make an appearance? Find out tomorrow on Undisputed. All right, guys, good stuff today. We're back same time tomorrow. Have a good one.